I'd like to open the Townsend Water Department Water Commissioner meeting of January 3rd, 2024, open at 7:01 p.m. On March 29th, 2023, Governor Healy signed into law a supplemental budget bill, which, among other things, extends the temporary provision pertaining to the open meeting law to March 31st, 2025. Specifically, this further extension allows public bodies to continue quorum of the public body physically present at the meeting location and to provide adequate alternative access to remote meetings. The language does not make any substantive changes to the open meeting law other than extending the expiration date of the temporary provisions regarding the remote meeting from March 31st, 2023 to March 31st, 2025. I'd like to announce that TCAM is recording the meeting and will upload it later to YouTube. Roll call of members and citizens present. Todd Melanson, Chair, present.
If you give me the location.
Nathan Madela, Vice Chair, present.
Hold on. Dave Vision, Superintendent, present. If you give me the
Chad
location.
Sexton, Duranian, liaison for the select board.
No.
Mr. Burns, if you could
You
unmute yourself and just
give
announce where
where
that you're present and your address, please.
within an hour. All right.
All right. He'll announce himself when we
I'm going to get it
to
within
the,
2 or 3 feet.
so.
It's going to be within 2 feet. It's good enough.
Dave, mute yourself or get back here, please.
Oh. Alrighty.
You with us? Oh, there are the Burnses.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am. we
Robert
can.
Burns, 24 Paulson Drive.
Thank you very much. I really
Okay,
appreciate
good.
that. All right. 1.4, Chairman and additions and deletions. I don't really have any right now. Approve meeting minutes of 1.5. Approve meeting minutes of October 16th, 2023 and November 20th, 2023. Nate, did you get the chance to go over those?
I saw the 16th. I was reading through the 20th.
Okay. Do you want to give a few more minutes or are you okay?
Please, if I could.
Yes, sir. You may. Nate, I like your background better than mine.
I actually took this picture.
Nice job, by the way.
I had to trespass. I was kidding. I'm only joking.
I know. I like the cooperage. I like a lot of the paintings about it.
A lot of history in the harbor.
Could have moved over a little bit to get the beautiful white house in the back of that.
No, it's going the wrong way, isn't it? That's from the bridge side, isn't it?
This is from
The backside.
15 South Street.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I am all set with those, Mr. Chairman. I move that we accept the meeting minutes of October 16, 2023 and November 20th, 2023.
Motion's been made. Actually, I have to say second. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further comment? I'll take a roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
Okay. 1.6, review correspondence and public comments. I don't believe we have any. We will move on to 2.1. I don't see the Penroses on here. So what we will do.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
if you personally receive correspondence that's directed to the Board of Water Commissioners, you would share that, correct?
Yeah, but we probably should have.
I'm just saying, if I don't think it's ever happened directly to me, I just want to make sure that we're
No,
getting
but
correspondence.
if we do that, it probably should be on the agenda of comment, say just the address or something like that, just so that if people were complying with the open meeting law, so we don't run into any trouble that way.
I just noticed that we used to get loads and loads and loads of correspondence, and I haven't really seen any in a long time.
Well, I know that the staff have been, if there were any sort of discolored water questions or and things like that, that the staff has been handling them. I don't know if that is something that we should be handling here, so to speak. We've been pretty, I would say, upfront about the reasoning, and that the town, we've done a pretty good job, I would say, of that staff have of communicating to the town what the causes are, what the solution is, and I think we're all waiting for that plant to come online so we can start working towards that, the finishing of that. But if it was something out of the ordinary, that isn't handled, like the billing sort of questions and stuff, we handle these in the next section. But beyond that, yeah, if it was something about policy or something like that, I would expect to see it. Yes.
No, I just noticed that we have gotten really not what I'm used to, and compared to prior years on the board. I just want to make sure that we're getting stuff and sharing stuff, and that's really what that section is for. And sometimes it's very simple. Hey, this was said. I just want everything. I want transparency. I want to know what's going on.
And I get that, but I also think we've done a lot better job recently being more, not being the invisible industry, but being present as with the staff being and stuff like that, and being a little bit maybe more communicative through the website and social media than we have in the past. And maybe that I'm just throwing stuff on the wall. I'm not saying yay, nay, or whatever. I'm just saying I think the department itself has modernized its communications a little bit, and maybe we're doing a little bit better so we don't get them. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you, Nate, but I would say that if there was something that needed to be brought before the board, I would expect it to be, and I think I'm going to trust the staff to do what they're supposed to do, and that the stuff that's being brought before us is what has been brought before them.
I like what you're saying.
All right. So, without further ado, 2.1, I'm gonna, the Penrose of 39 Emery Road, we're gonna, Nate, if it's all right with you, we'll take them as they show up, because I don't see anybody else, and we have 3 appointments. So I am gonna skip over 2.1 and 2.1 and go to 2.2 if you're okay with that.
Yes.
Okay. 2.2, Robert Burns, 24 Balsam Drive, account number 2660. And it's in the meeting packet. I will give the floor to the Burnses in 1 second. I just want to get down to that portion of the packet so I can follow along.
I will tell you, they put the wrong address in the package.
Okay.
This is the one that we had them at the last meeting. That's a holdover. And
Okay.
so I can give you a quick rundown.
Okay.
They've had a leaky toilet for years. Their average bill has been between $300 and $400. They fixed the toilet this summer,
Yeah.
and their bill last quarter was 80 for the quarter that just got billed a few days ago.
Yep.
Was 80 something dollars. So their new bill is 20% of their average bill for the last 3 years.
Only
Okay.
20%?
They're paying 20% because their bill is about $400 on average for the last 12 quarters.
So they dropped it by 80% by
They
fixing
dropped
the
it
toilet.
by 80%. So their bill now is 20% of what they've been paying.
Okay.
There was they said they couldn't afford to change the toilets, that they didn't, or fix the leak. So they've been having a leak for years. And so how you want to handle this? Unfortunately, what I'm going to recommend is a payment plan, but they can say their piece and you can talk to them. But that's in a nutshell.
All right. Mr. Burns?
Yes, yep.
Go ahead.
No, well, I'm just questioning, like I said, usually our payments are $350 roughly, which it was back in June. And then the next quarterly was doubled, $718, and I just don't know how it could jump that high, just even if we had a leaky toilet, because we've had those toilets in the house since we bought the house 30 years ago, and it was never that high.
Right.
Well,
I can answer this one. A leaky toilet can use 250,000 gallons in a 90-day period. And leaks only get worse. And
Right.
yours decided to get worse. And I hate to say it like that. If you don't fix the leak,
Yeah.
leaks always get worse. And there's no,
Yes.
because you're wearing a groove into things that shouldn't. And it's inevitable, and it was just going to get worse. I've seen bills through toilets of $7,000 or $8,000. 250,000 gallons of water is a tremendous amount of water, and that leak has been going on for years.
Right. And I think, and you're right, because initially, before we could actually have a plumber come in and fix that one toilet that was constantly running, I believe at that time our water bill was over $900. And but it got to a point I had to shut off the water completely to the house until I could get a plumber to come in and fix that one toilet. And then our next bill was in the 300s. So we thought, okay, that's great, right? So that worked out well. But then in talking with you, Dave, like about the leakage, we had noticed that there was a small drip on our outside hose. I was cleaning stuff up and came out the back door, and I said, oh, how come that hose hasn't been removed for the winter? And then I noticed there was a little drip, and I said, could that be it? So I had spoken with you, and you were very kind and also alerted us about our wash machine was over 20 years old, and that the amount of water that those machines used in comparison to the more efficient machines today is hugely different. So it just came at a time when Black Friday sales were on. So we did purchase an efficient washer that got put in, I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks ago. And so it's nice to see that the bill came to $96.32 in comparison to the $300. And you did say that would make a big difference, and there's proof right there. So thank you so much for that. I think our bill is also so low, mainly too because when we realized about the wash machine, the dishwasher was like over 15 years old. So we decided to replace that, but that has not been put in yet. And but we yanked out the old one, so I have not been running a dishwasher for a month, and very painful. But I'll just say that that also I'm sure has attributed, because believe me, you don't use as many pans and dishes when you have to wash by hand.
One
So
thing I
I
would-
wasn't right.
thing
So I
I might-
wasn't ready. So those two factors certainly has attributed to the new total on our bill now. And I agree that, as Dave had said to us in December, that, well, you use the water, so, you do need to, pay for the water. And I'm just hoping that, in this meeting that you would maybe give us a break, because I would have paid the bill in December, but the December meeting was canceled.
Well, we wouldn't be
And
charging you any.
so
Sorry.
I plan on going tomorrow to the, I'm sorry?
No, well, I had a couple things to say. One is you wouldn't be getting charged any interest because the rescheduling of the meeting was on us,
Right.
me specifically.
Okay.
But one other thing too, when you were mentioning the washing machine and the dishwasher, you might want to
Mhm.
check with Mass Save. You might be able to get some additional energy rebates on that. I think they do if you're buying if it's a certain energy score, you can get a certain amount of rebate that you can apply to the purchase of those appliances. So you might want to,
Yes.
if you go to Mass Save on the website, I think you can find where you'd be eligible for rebates. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I do know that
Yeah.
that's a possibility.
Okay.
Dave, what tier were they in? Final.
Well, they've been in a high tier because they've been in a tier 4 for years because of
Of the league.
of the leaks. I would say both toilets were leaking. One was leaking really bad, but
Okay.
like they said, they shut one off, and they probably never knew the other one. I also noticed that when I looked at I mentioned to Mrs. Burns that at 12 o'clock every day that she was using a little over 100 gallons of water, and I said, I asked her if she washed her clothes at that time, and that's how we knew that she had a very inefficient wash machine. But those meters will tell you that.
Right.
And
Do you have the new what's it called, Dave? The Ion?
she does now.
The app,
Okay. The app. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
yes.
But I will tell you that
Yeah,
washing
we
machine
have
will
been
pay for itself.
actually,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I said to my husband. I said, actually, like, this quarter and next quarter we'll pay for the wash machine. So, so that was good. So, and I appreciate your help in that and your knowledge, David, in alerting us. And, so we hopped right on it and said, yep, let's just see. And sure enough, the proof is in the pudding here. And I appreciate you saying that, like the interest that's on the bill, that 3261, that we wouldn't need to
No.
be responsible for.
That's
So my
on
concern
us.
is,
No, the
okay,
other-
and so then, may I ask you, so I know like the 300 something whatever, I would imagine definitely would be it, but in regards to the 718, what is it, 80, is that,
Well,
is
let
that
us-
something that can be reduced for us, or?
Let me and Nate discuss.
right.
At a minimum, we would do is a payment plan, and you would pay your current bill plus a portion over a period of time, not everything all up at front. It'll be what we decide here.
That's right.
The only stipulation would be is that you need to stay current with your current bills as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, as I said, I planned on going to town hall tomorrow. because I was waiting for this meeting because
Yep.
I just want to pay it. You know, I always pay as soon as I get the bill. I
Let's
usually
make-
pay it.
At a minimum, let's make it easier on you but let's see what Nate and I come up with. So at a minimum would be a payment plan, and we could spread it over no more than a year, but like 6 months or less than that.
And
But
waiving
no
all
more than a year.
and waiving all interest to
Yeah, no, the waiving the interest and doing a payment plan. In anything we do, except for the payment plan would be like a one-time only. But I'd love to hear my commissioner's take on this, and we'll go, if you give
Okay.
us a couple of seconds, we'll discuss it.
Okay.
And so Nate, you have the floor. What are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Well, this is a tricky one. Because normally, I'd like to say, hey, reduce to like a tier that's appropriate for their normal usage.
Yeah,
But if it's been like that for years, really can't do that because it's not
Correct.
really in line with what we have done in the
No,
past. Although, you know,
yeah, I'm stuck with it too.
it's unfortunate they knew they had a leak, but you know, there really couldn't have been anything that we could do about it.
Correct.
When was the tiered system, rate system put in and implemented?
3 years ago, I think, 2 or 3 years
It's been
ago.
that long.
2 years.
2 years. Yep.
Okay, so wait, then how? So they would have been in tier 4. You're saying,
Yeah, for the last 2 years at least.
right? They said. I think someone said 4 years. So I didn't. I was confused. Yeah, I
Yes,
mean the interest. I would.
Well, the interest gets waived because the moving of the meeting was on me, or on our board. So that the interest isn't, and the waiving out, if there's a payment plan, you do that as well. So that the interest to me is secondary. It's just whether we set up, I'm trying to bring up the calculator on my phone and it's not working. Hold on. So hold on, let's get it. Mr. or Mrs. Burns, what was the total you had on the bill, so I don't have to change screens again?
$847.73. That's included in the January bill.
And that's including the interest. So
So,
without the
take this latest quarter, which was the 90 whatever out. What was the one big one? It was what, 700 and
$718.80.
so say we spread it over 10 months. It would be
Alright.
it would be a $71.88 above what your monthly bill would be now.
We don't do monthly bills. We do quarterly.
Oh shoot, that's right. Never
Right.
mind.
Do it for 2 years and 8 payments.
8 payments?
8 payments for 2 years.
I hate going past 1 year.
Yeah, you know, they're an elderly couple. We can stretch it to that long.
All right. So if we do that, break that into 8 payments. Is that right?
And it'll still be less than half what their usual
Yeah,
bill
so
is.
it would be $89.85 a quarter, beyond what you pay for your quarterly bill now. So if your bill stays right at $100,
Yeah.
you'd still be under what your quarterly payments were before.
It'll be under $200.
Okay.
Normally we do it if it's a surprise leak and it's a one-time. Usually the leaks that we've been dealing with is like out of the blue, like an irrigation head broke or a backflow
Right.
broke or the toilet got stuck and let go or something like that. The problem in those we've we've abated. The problem is where this was a long-standing issue and your usage is definitely drastically different. Um, um, so,
So-
Yeah, because
so-
when we fixed that toilet years ago, the one that was severely constantly running, like I said, at that time the bill was 900 something, and then the next quarter it came down to 300 something. And we were very happy with that, and so so we did fix that piece. But then Dave had thought that perhaps there still was a slight leakage in one or both of the toilets, and that's when we submitted how we had replaced the toilets this summer. They really weren't installed until I think it was September and October that they were actually installed. So, which still affected the bill that we had. So,
So what I'm getting, the $89.85 will be added on to each quarterly for the next 2 years. Is that what is correct?
correct.
that's what it
A minimum. You
Yeah,
can pay
I'm-
more. You can pay more if you want to.
But that would be the
Right, okay.
minimum.
Okay.
Um,
I see. And there's no
Um,
interest on that,
What,
right?
what we will
Having-
do is, what will happen is the first payment you make, because what we've done is, we have to, we can abate it. It can't be waived. There's a difference in the terminology, but we can and have abated interest in the past. So what we will do is, that will be in the motion when we accept it, and go from there. Is that acceptable to you? Is that something you can legitimately commit to?
Well, we can commit to it. It's just mind blowing to think that it doubled in 3 months when nothing had changed during that time period. So that's where
We
I'm-
could have got bigger.
confused about, because
It-
I
I
just
will
don't
be
know.
honest. I will be honest with you. Toilets are on a house without irrigation, the toilets are the single biggest loose of water. You can lose. I mean, if it's just the flapper and it's an inconsistent
Right.
leak, it's been documented to leak anywhere from 300 to 700 gallons over a period of a day. So you that,
Sure.
and especially if it goes on for a longer period of time, that leak, whether it's the rubber is losing its ability to hold suction or what have you, it can be significant, and it does creep up. Once water finds an easy path, it usually makes that path bigger. Like I said, a one-time surprise leak, we've kind of set the precedent of abating that. Where this was a long-standing leak, I'm hesitant to set that precedent of doing that, because if we do that for you, we have to do it for everyone, and we've been holding pretty strictly
I
to.
understand.
So
Sure.
it gets into more than just trying to help you. We then have to do that for everybody
Mhm.
else, and I just don't want to
Sure.
go down that. I
Yep.
completely
Okay.
empathize with you, and we're trying to do the best we can. So,
Right. So may I ask a question?
yes, ma'am.
And it's in reference to billing, right? So, so when it states like, well, this is an estimate, right? Like that's
Yep.
concerning to me, because if I have a meter and then the bill comes in saying it's an estimate, I'm not saying that's what, I don't know, maybe that is what's been showing on here and over the years, but it's just a question that when it is done, oh yeah, estimated. So when that happens and there's an actual meter,
Mhm.
Why is it
why
estimated?
is there an estimate? And do you have something in place that says, okay, I'm seeing this bill is being generated as an estimate, and that should only happen once, because then a reading needs to occur or something, and that it's not an ongoing, every time you get the bill, it's an estimate. So is
So-
that, am I asking that correctly?
You are, and so what can happen is the connection, there could have been something happened with the connection, the depending on, now Dave, the one that's the estimate, right? This is, we were on AMI, it was reporting back already. This wasn't an actual go out and read, correct?
The one where there was an estimate is the one where we had the breakdown of the old software.
Okay. So
But the next one was an actual, and
okay.
and,
So-
and verified.
Okay. So what we have now is the meters report back to the office, and they get actual consistent reads continually.
Okay.
In the past, if there were a lot of estimated ones, it usually means, in this case, the software broke down in this meter reading cycle.
So meaning
In the-
the
in the-
software, like, I'm
It
sorry,
stopped.
I didn't mean
It
to
stopped
interrupt.
working. That's okay. It stopped
New
working.
one.
It didn't misread or anything, but it
Mhm.
did stop working. So the next quarter, because the way the softwares are set up, from what I understand, is that once that quarter goes by where the reads would have happened or accumulated, it gets estimated and is picked up on the next one. So, and it was verified. So your numbers did change from, so like if you look from the estimated to the next, it was about about 1,000 above what your estimated was. And the 82, if you do the math, it pretty much adds up to those numbers. So it is
Okay.
verified. In other
Okay.
cases where you're talking about overall estimates that go beyond one, usually that's a stop meter. And for us, the policy is you notify the homeowner that the meter is, there's something wrong with the meter where it's not working, and then we try and get in and schedule and replace it. And the other part of this is we've been going through a whole meter upgrade and exchange. Part of the state's policy is the meters actually, as they get older, they slow down and your readings get less accurate. And they, as part of the water conservation standard, they want us to have a continual meter exchange program where every 10 years, a 10-year-old meter gets changed out. It helps us keep up with current technologies, but also keeps the meter readings accurate. The meters don't ever speed up, and if anything, they always slow down. So if anything, if the meter reader was wrong on an estimate, and the next meter would have been a lot less. Yes. Does that explain it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was just, throwing that out there only because I'm sure that you have policies in place and all, and it's not to, say anything, but when you hear about the people in Boston and like thousands of dollars that they suddenly owe, and I'm like, wait a
And
minute, our
Newton,
bills have
I
been
don't-
estimated. Like,
I
what are we
don't-
doing?
I don't ever want to be Newton, Massachusetts. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, it was. Where that's the whole purpose. That's one of the benefits, I would say, of the what they call AMI, which is automatic reads, is that you get the meters when they stop now will report, because they report continuously. Like the water department
Okay.
actually sees leaks as they're happening now. If they hit a certain level, at least I believe so, and they've tried to let people know that they're using large amounts of water. Where yours was over a long period of time, that's probably why you didn't get notified until you hit that 700, because it would have looked like your normal usage, so to speak.
Right. Correct.
Because what it does is it goes into like an algorithm where it calculates a certain percentage over what the normal bill would be, and then that's when the program reports to the staff.
Okay.
I'm
No,
trying to
I
answer.
appreciate you.
No,
Sorry.
no. No sorries are ever needed. I talk way too much.
But in this,
It's
Gonna
been
second
noted
that,
and
Nate.
recorded, just so you know.
but
No,
in this
So
case,
will we be,
we could help her out a lot by having the new meter, and that I could identify things that you would never even think about. But I've been doing this a long time, and I can pick out problems from that graph.
I got a call
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
like
you
3
were-
weeks ago. My spigot had actually, I was leaving it out because I knew I was going to have a fire, and I thought, oh, it's not going to get that cold, and it got that cold, and it split my gate, and didn't burst any pipes, but yeah, I dumped a lot of water, and they saw that. They called me. They said, "Hey, Nate, you got a leak."
yeah,
So
Mhm.
I think by the app and the software itself, I think you will find that it's a lot better than it was. But I think
Yes.
like I
Yeah.
said,
No, I'm very pleased.
Nate, are you
Yeah,
with me on
I'm very
the?
pleased.
Hold on one second. Let me ask one question to Nate, and then
Okay.
you can have the floor. Nate, are you
Okay.
okay with the payment plan idea? In going forward with that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely, I am. As long as it works for the Burnses,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
yeah, it does. So will we get a new bill in the mail?
Dave, can they come down to the office and
Okay.
you see if you can
The
straighten that out?
bill isn't the bill, but we'll work. I'll have Brenda call you when we have
Yeah,
the payment plan all set up, and then you come down and sign it, and then you pay the current bill, and the other
Yeah.
bill will disappear into the payment plan.
okay. All right, that sounds good.
Okay.
Nate, do you want to make the motion or do you want me to?
Let's see. We're going to abate the interest
Yes.
for what period?
Can you do it up till the signing of the payment plan?
That'll work because that accrues daily, Nate. So until they get
Gotcha.
in,
And we'll figure out that number on that day.
okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we enact a payment plan for account number 2660 to allow for the outstanding amount to be paid over the course of the next 2 years. And we abate the interest
Up to the day of
up to the point, up to the inception of this payment plan.
Could you modify the very ending stating they must stay current with their current bills?
Okay, I'm going to amend the second part of that to abate the interest up to the inception of payment plan, given that the water bill is the normal water bill is paid.
Motion, I second. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote, Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Matala, aye.
Motion has been made and passed unanimously. Mr. and Mrs. Burns, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience on the rescheduling. I've put this out to everyone else that's come on here. I think Nate has as well. I think you've learned a little bit about what we do, seen the importance of it. We do have an open commissioner's spot that if you would like to volunteer for, we would be more than happy to have either one of you. And if you'd consider it, that would be great. If not, I completely understand.
Yeah, we need people.
Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, well, thanks for your help. We appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you, all
Thank
of
you.
you.
Not a problem. You have a good evening.
Have a great night.
Okay. I don't see. Oh, who's that?
39 Emery.
Griffin. Okay.
Third-
39.
Oh, no,
Emery.
sorry. That's a West Elm.
West Elm.
West
Okay.
Elm.
West Elm. Do-do-do-do. All right. This one is. Okay. Dave, if you could explain. So hold on one second. I go back up to the top. Sorry, I'm hitting different. I lost a computer, so I am jumping between screens on the same one. And I hit the wrong button, so there we go. Where is my... So we are 2.1 still has not shown, so we are going to 2.3. Adam Griffin, 38 West Elm. So Dave, if you could explain it, and then we'll hear from Mr. Griffin.
Okay, so Mr. Griffin had a very high bill, and he has a house and a barn. Somewhere in the past, somebody put a line between the house and the barn, and that started leaking. From this, and he didn't know it until he went in his backyard and found a squishy spot. And then, sorry for my technical terminology, but that's the best I could come up with. And he figured out he had a leak between the two. We don't allow this anymore.
Yeah, the barn would.
We don't
the
allow
barn-
going from a house to a house or a house to a barn. You have to have a separate line. But he did fix it. He sent the pictures. He fixed it himself. The line should be replaced instead of the fix he described. But he wants to know if you guys can do anything. He used 273 units of water. And in the past, the highest he's done is 108 units. He is a high water user. He's always in tier 4.
Well, and since we enacted the tiers, let's be honest.
Right.
But he's always been in. Always been in that.
He's a high water. They're farmers, so that's a high water user. So let him say his piece, and then I have a recommendation.
Okay. Welcome aboard, Mr. Griffin.
Hello. Yeah, so basically that is the gist of what happened. It broke. We own the house that we own. It's a very old house, 1860s. The barn was built in the 70s, I believe. We've lived here for about 3 or 4 years now. And the last 3 years we were farming full time. So I have a shipping container on site that we grow out of, where we grow a lot of like produce and stuff. And then we also have a bunch of animals as well, that we obviously I need water at the barn for all those animals.
Mm-hmm.
This past summer, we had an exceptional amount of rain, and that's why I did not notice the leak. The leak was it was underneath. I had a camper parked where it actually started leaking, and it kind of runs off the backside of where it's kind of like the camper's on a flat side, and then it right on the other side it kind of dumps down, so the water was running that way, and that you just wouldn't notice if you saw the property. Like you just would not notice that we don't go back there, so I didn't know it was leaking. And with the amount of water that we had over this past summer, I mean, I had standing water for weeks on time, like pretty much all summer long on the farm, between puddles here and there. So it wasn't until we finally got like it started to dry out that I noticed it got so bad that it started the water, like when you turned it on, you could see it bubbling it up and like it was running the opposite way.
What I couldn't tell from the pictures. What size is that pipe that goes from the house to the barn?
It's a 1-inch poly pipe.
Okay, all right.
So
One thing I would recommend, especially if you've got that line going from your house to the barn, is try not to park anything on that, especially if it's an underused portion of the property, I would say, because
That's also not sleeved.
Okay, that's if it's poly and it's unsleeved, that's something you're going to have to get done, because the poly, if you have anything that is like gas or solvent related that happens to spill out there,
sure.
the poly doesn't protect it. That those VOCs or volatile organics can pass through the plastic and enter your water. So it makes
Gotcha.
it the barn water unsafe, and it can come back to the house.
Sure.
Is this high density polyethylene that we're talking about when you say poly?
It's usually HPDE, which is the plastic they use. Anyone that has them, they do two things. They'll sleeve it, and then they'll put a tracer wire on it so that people can find it later. Because on the poly and the plastic sleeves they put around it, basically they take a PVC pipe, Nate, and you sleeve the plastic. It protects it from the VOCs. Also protects it a little bit better from breakage and stuff like that, from pressures pushing down or moving. But it also allows you to put a tracer wire along it, because you can't find plastic with the wand. But if you do a tracer wire, you can find that wire with the water wands that they have. Even the ground penetrating radar, I think it would pick it up, Dave, but you would have to know where that line is, so to speak.
As long as I knew where the box is, I could trace it.
Right.
But
So-
in this case, gasoline will eat.
Yeah, it'll eat through it. It pass. First thing it'll do is it'll pass through the plastic into the water. But if it stays there, or if it's a continuous issue, like say you parked like a truck over it or something that was leaking, that will degrade the plastic. So that's why they're sleeved. So I would ask Mr. Griffin. I know it won't be done this winter, but at your first opportunity, for the safety of yourself and your animals, I would definitely get that sleeved. If that's plastic, it means they're going to have to cut it again and run the sleeve, because you can't pop over an existing
You might want
line.
to change that section of pipe out too, because you'll have another leak there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once plastic
ideal
starts.
situation, we replace
Say
the
again?
entire thing. Ideal situation for us is we replace the entire thing. The barn
Correct.
needs new electrics. It needs new water. It's not something. It was done in the 70s. You know, it's something that we inherited. And it's not a small job. You know.
So one thing I did think, when we created the rates, are you a commercially recognized farm? Or are you doing your own sustainable farming for yourself?
Yes. No. It's like for profit. So I
Okay.
mean, like
There was two questions there. When you said yes, I kind of
Yeah,
which
sorry.
one? So it is forget me if I'm wrong, Dave, but didn't we in the tiers, so
If you're
we didn't
incorporated.
affect what?
If you're incorporated,
which I don't know what that means. Like we've never filed for anything special or anything like that.
right? So like Gary's Farm Stand is an
Yep.
incorporation. They have the commercial rate.
And King Farms is probably as well. And
No.
King's Farm should be.
Oh no, the greenhouses. They're
Yes.
incorporated.
Why
But there
would
are other farmers
Inco-
who are not incorporated.
why is incorporation a big deal?
Because it
Just-
legally recognizes the farm, and it gives us
Right.
standing from someone who's just growing in their backyard and says they have a farm.
Right.
So you-
But if they were a sole proprietor and they farmed, that would not be eligible.
Correct.
We might want to revisit that.
Well,
We might want to take another look at that.
You
Well,
dig yourself in a hole on that.
Well, no, what happens is then anyone can claim that they have a farm. It's
I wasn't involved in this decision because you know how I would have voted, but it might be something worth revisiting and cleaning up. I'm
Well-
not to
well,
say you
we-
guys didn't do a good job.
maybe it's something we also run by town
And
council
The,
because
the other, go ahead.
Well-
I'm sorry.
I just want to make sure that we have to have legal standing to be able to deny and to not to deny, but to classify things correctly so that we apply things correctly. If we don't put criteria behind a decision, we open it up, sort of like setting a precedent like we did previously by not setting a precedent by what we decided on the payment plan. I think and that was the criteria that was not suggested, but
I don't want to get too far off topic.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I think it's worth talking about maybe at a future date. Just to,
Okay.
so I'd like a better understanding of it, and if there's something better that can be done, then great. If not, then fine. But
Right.
the
Right,
other
so I
question
would-
I had about this, Dave, when was this? You're saying lines are no longer allowed to be run to outbuildings off of a service,
You can put a new service in from
right?
the street.
When was
but
that
from house
implemented?
to- But that's one of the things that you guys told me to do, not have the spaghetti lines.
So you're saying I was on the board when that was implemented? I just don't recall it.
Well, I was told not to allow spaghetti lines because you get the same.
don't
What
know what a-
happens is you get what you have in Greeley Road, which you have a house going to another house, going to another house, to another house. So, and none of it is in the street.
I thought the Greeley Road issue was there was a main going through someone's basement. There was more.
In addition, well, the
we're
reason
getting
why
off
we went-
topic again. I just wanted to know when
Right.
it was implemented. That was my question.
So
Probably
it
about
was
2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years
Right.
ago. Okay.
It also brings into code or into not compliance, but into industry standard. Unless it's on a residential property, it's not as thoroughly inspected as like commercial ones are with backflow prevention and all that other things.
There's a plumbing code.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily in the plumbing code, but in AWWA recommendations and standards, that's one of the industry standards that they recommend you follow is that on residential type properties like this, you don't allow separate buildings. The only ones I've seen that get exceptions are like smaller things like a pool house or not a pool house. Yeah, they're called pool houses. Small things like that. But something that is like a barn and stuff like that, they do recommend as a standard that you have separate service connections. Where this is such long-standing, I don't see a change to it, but I would have them, if they're going to replace it, it definitely needs to be sleeved so that it protects them and their animals. I would, Nate, since it's a farm, what would you think about dropping it to tier 2?
Can I give you the recommendation?
Sure.
All right. So because tier 2 is a commercial, this is a one-time thing. So their last highest bill was 108 units. So I used the 108. I subtracted the difference from what they used this time, which is you'll see the recommendations there all written out. So
Yep.
they used 273.5 units. The next highest one was 108 for a difference of 165.5. So if you multiply that from the difference between tier 4 and tier 2, which is 544, it comes out to $900.32 of
That we would abate,
of an abatement.
and then we would abate the interest as well.
Right. So everything's on you have the recommendation in front of you on one of the pages.
So his usage is tier 2 normally? Is that what you're saying?
No, his usage is always tier 4.
Yeah, but what we would be dropping it to is
So one
I
time,
can't follow the math. I'm sorry.
it's a one-time tier 2 because of the leak. Only on the difference of what he normally uses and the leak. I have it all figured out right there, and it's all written out.
No, I know.
I'm looking at it.
Me too. By the way, I really wish we had used gallons instead of cubic feet. It's too late now. It was too late before I got here. What's your pleasure, Nate?
Well, I would like to know what Adam thinks of Dave's proposition. You'd save $900.32 off of the billed amount, and we would also waive the interest.
And that would bring. I don't have the bill in front of me. It was what, like 3,500, something like that.
So I'm showing a total of $4,022.22.
I think that's with this current month, this last quarter involved
Right.
in that.
So that bill that you were talking about is was 35. It was like $3,500. So it's going to bring it down to about 26.
I mean, anything's better than anything, you know. I'm not gonna.
It's $900. It's $900.32 that we
Yeah,
can
that's a
save.
lot. It's a lot of cash. So, from my end, you know.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
One other thing I would suggest you look at is incorporating your farm or your if you are for a profit. I don't know the cost on it, but if you were incorporated, you would be. When we did the tiers, we locked in certain categories at tier 2.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that would be the schools, the larger businesses, and what we said were incorporated farms. That would save you significant. We didn't want to unduly burden businesses and things that were trying to be that have always operated in town, and it's hard enough to get businesses in town. So I would suggest you look at that. I'm not exactly sure of the cost, but I would think it would be a worthwhile investment and save you in the long run.
Sure.
So let me see if I can call up my. Well, it seems like he's in favor of it. Nate, what's your pleasure?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say if that's the best we can do, we can't drop it to tier 1, then fine. I mean,
Okay.
but really, I think that most other instances where we've dealt with a leak like this, it's been identified and fixed and stopped, and people have come before us. I think they were pretty much all of them. Most of them have been in tier 1, normally.
Correct.
And everybody here knows that I don't like this tiered system. I don't like it. And, but here we are.
It is what we have.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, I'd be for that.
okay.
So is this just the previous quarter, or are we doing two? Is there two?
No, just
billing
the
cycles
previous
here?
quarter, the $3,500
Okay.
bill.
All right,
So-
Mr. Chairman, I move that we bill the last quarter of account number 60301 in tier 2 and waive interest
No, I think what he was, hold on one second. It
is
doesn't
that a
drop the whole
separate thing?
Yeah, so what
It's
we
the
are doing,
October billing.
Okay, nobody pointed that out when I said that. All right,
It's
that's
the
fine.
October
So,
billing.
all right, well, I strike the last line.
but also we weren't dropping the whole thing to tier 2, I think.
I thought
think what
you
he
said the
was
last quarter.
Correct, the last quarter, but I think what we are abating is the amount of
Over-
165.5
All right, you
units.
want that dollar amount, which and I'm showing here that it's $900.32.
Yes, please.
Okay. I move that we abate account number 60301 in the amount of $900.32
And abate the interest.
and abate the interest.
Motion's made, and I will second it. A roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
All right, motion's been made and passed. Mr. Griffin, appreciate your time. Appreciate you working with us. When you do fix, or when you get that line sleeve, could you, before you fill up, can you make sure the water department, a staff member, just inspects it, or just is there to verify that it's sleeved and done correctly?
Sure, gotcha. I was
You
curious.
might also-
No, go ahead.
You might also want to add a backflow preventer on that, just to protect the water from coming back to your house. So the line that leaves the house and goes to the barn has a backflow preventer on it, so that you're not going to pull anything back from the barn if it sits for a long period of time.
Gotcha. Okay.
That is a request,
Yes.
not an
Do
order.
do I have like a set period of when I need to have this money back into you guys? Like obviously $2,600 is like a good amount of cash, you know.
Well, we did a payment plan before, Nate. What's your feeling on that?
I'm
Like I don't need
I'm-
2 years, like by any means. Like I don't need that far out, but like
Would you like us to look at a payment plan for you?
yeah,
for
at
the-
least for that amount, that'd be fantastic if I could. Yeah.
I'm
I'm 100%
on board with
behind
that. Yeah. Yeah,
Would
absolutely.
would 4 quarters be good? So long as you can
Yeah,
stay
that's-
firm with your.
I think that's more than enough. Yeah.
All right. So why don't we do, Nate? You feel like amending the previous motion?
Sure. I move that we hold on. Let me do a little math.
Yeah. Hold on. I got my calculator up. What was it?
So are we?
900?
Is it the new charges minus $900.32?
Yeah.
It's the October charges.
If you would
So
like,
total due.
Oh,
So
wait a minute.
$4,022.22. Go ahead.
if you would like, you can call tomorrow and we can set something up with them in the office.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. I can do that.
Why don't we do it the same as we did the other one, Nate? Abate.
Yep.
Say that the payment plan for the abated amount.
Not the abated amount.
no.
The abated amount is a
Less
separate
less the
issue.
abated amount.
Less the abated amount. Thank you for correcting me. Less the abated amount, and to waive the interest upon the inception of the payment plan, or abate the interest upon the inception of the payment plan.
I move that we
Amend the
implement a
previous-
payment plan. No, that motion's fine, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay,
So
we can have two
I
separate
move
ones.
that we implement a payment plan for account number 60301 to pay the outstanding balance less the abatement over the next 4 quarters and not charge any further interest as long as current bill is paid through that
Cool.
period of time.
How about
that
abate
too.
interest abate the interest upon up until the inception of the payment plan?
If you got it, run with it, Todd.
All right, here we go. I gotta need the numbers. I liked everything except the. Let's see. Did it. All right. I move that we abate account 60301. No, I'm. It's not as easy as it looks, is it, Nate?
You already voted on that part. You just
Yeah, I know.
payment
I
plan.
started down the wrong path. I move that we initiate a payment plan for account 60301 for the unpaid balance minus the abated portion, and that the interest be abated up until the inception of the payment plan, so long as the payments are made and the current bill is kept current.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
Mr. Griffin, I will put out the same invitation to you that I have, and Nate has additionally, that if you so would like to become involved in this, your involvement would be appreciated, and give it some consideration. And we need the bodies. So and if not this one, I would say almost every committee or board in town is in need of volunteers. So you would be most definitely welcome, sir.
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Well, let's see. Nate, I do not see anybody else. So if you don't mind, we will move on. If they do show up, we'll come back to 2.1. 3.1, discuss and review FY25 budget. Dave, I will let you explain the budget and go from there.
Okay, so if you go to, it says on the top expense worksheet,
You mean budget worksheet?
it says expense worksheet on the top line. There's
That's
2
that's
pages.
page 2.
Oh, that's okay. All right. Sorry. 3.1. Yep, I got it.
We're gonna go down. So this is just the rough draft. And so from 2024 to 2025, the expenses are calculated up to about 2.3%. Where we're going to have to go up the most on is chemicals, because chemical prices are going through the roof. So that's the only. The other one is rentals. It's only $1,000, but it's the dumpster.
Okay.
And trash is also going up quite a bit. So those are the two major expenses going up. But we kind of held the line for almost everything else, besides those 2 lines, and so it kept things pretty much down.
Why did the dumpster jump 1,000, Dave? Not that
Because of
you
the
know.
trash.
Okay.
The trash is more expensive to dump, just like
Okay.
the contract in town. The trash is going to be a lot more expensive to get rid of.
Okay.
Nathan has her hand up.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Dave, I have a question on the dues and memberships. Is that a new position or is that
That's
increasing?
because we have 2 new positions.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought.
So there's nothing much I can do with that one.
Do we have to create those positions like we have every other?
Yeah, pretty much.
We did last year.
At what point? Oh, we already did.
Yeah.
Oh.
In the
That's why we
previous
hired
budget.
the 2
They
new
just
people.
we didn't fund them because the plant wasn't up and running. I think we funded one halfway through the year
We funded
and then-
one for March
and one for March.
and one
so
for
that
July,
they would,
one for the June, July.
so that I believe so we would have time to train them and to get them full licensure.
Right.
Instead of starting with not enough operators to operate the plant and then do distribution in addition.
What is the building supplies? You don't see is that just a,
Did you
Which
get rid of
one's,
it, Dave?
Hold on. Oh, building supplies got rolled into, building supplies, it got rolled into
Office supplies?
repair and maintenance of building.
Okay.
So, because that's what it was for.
Okay. So you're going to get rid of that line item won't show up again in our budgets
Correct.
next year. Okay.
But and as you see, the building repair and maintenance of building went up
Mhm.
$1,000, but it got rolled into that.
so you're rolling it in. Is that reflected in FY25? Because it looks like it's just $1,000 increase.
Right. I put that the other 2,000 into chemicals.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to be fiscally responsible, and I'm trying not to raise the rates up any more than they have to.
All right.
But that's how. But building and maintenance, that's changing the windows, the roofs, anything to do around any work or paint, anything that needs to fix up all of the buildings throughout the town.
The other two that are closed out, mileage out of state and replacement equipment. Will those no longer show up on the budget going forward?
Right, the replacement. Replacement went into new equipment. Those got
Okay.
combined.
All right. And
Because
then,
replacement equipment is the new equipment.
okay.
Replacement
And
equipment
then-
was at 0.
Right.
It is.
Because
It
I did
wasn't
that.
funded,
I did that
so he's
last
just-
year.
So he's taken that, so that line item won't appear next year, Nate.
Mhm.
And mileage out of state is because no one lives out of state, and they now, if they go out of state, like to the lab and stuff, that's in a work vehicle, not a personal.
Correct.
All right.
So they basically got combined.
Okay. And then, so we got, let's see, debt service, phase one. So we do have some debt coming, small amounts coming off the books. It
Yeah, I
looks
put
like.
the dates. I put the dates there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm looking. So in 2026, looks like we have 45,000 coming off the books.
Correct.
And then in 27, we've got
66.
66. Thank you. Coming off, and then we're adding the PFAS. The PFAS starts getting added on.
Right. But
Right.
it'll be about the same amount.
Okay. All
And what
right.
about this intermunicipal agreement? I thought we had numbers on that.
The intermunicipal, it's on the next page. But right now, if you like this page, we'll go to the next one.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So you can see the 898, 655. That's all that this, and so from
No,
Twenty-
I don't see that.
on the bottom
Of
On the-
page 1?
on the page we were just talking about.
Page 1?
Is it page one? Yeah, it's page one.
Okay.
If
All
you
right.
look down the bottom, last year was
Totals?
877.95, and this year is 8. So it's 2.3% for
Uh-huh.
No, I know that's the total, Dave. He's asking why there's no numbers under intermunicipal agreement.
that's on the next page.
Okay.
So right now I just want to complete this page. Are we
Okay.
done with this one?
Yeah, I don't, keeping
Okay.
the total budget to a 2.3% increase, I think is, given what we're dealing with the chemicals.
Pretty much all of it's the chemicals.
Yeah, I know. So I'm okay with it, Nate.
Yeah, I think 2.3% is good for everything that we have going on here.
Dave, good job on that part. All right, now you said second page.
Right. So the first part, don't worry about it. That's just I have to put I just have to fix a few things. But as you can see, like on where it says FY in red 2024, it's actually 25, and those are the second page is 899.65, and the 753 453 from this page equals the 1652. That's what we're going to paying up. So salaries. So the first line, it says it's 25%. It's not 25%. It's the vehicle allowance, the stipends all got pushed. You can see how some of it, the second to last line, or the two lines down the bottom are now zeroed out. So they actually went into the salary. So it
Okay.
doesn't, even though it says it went up 25%, it didn't. It only went up 4%. Because,
We
Oh.
took and that was, um, that was to protect the superintendent from any board changes. Stipends can be taken away, and it was a way when he was in the union to get him to where, what the pay range of superintendents is now.
Right.
So we won't see those again. The petitioned stipend.
they all went away. That's why they're funded at zero.
Okay.
So the two items that are out that have no percent change were moved up into the first line,
The last two line items,
but
the
we
21,000 and the 7,000 got moved
So-
up.
So is there because that's only 119,000. Where's the other?
Well, you also got
5,000.
a what was it, a 4%, Dave?
Next year it's going to be 4%.
All right. So we got a 4% raise plus
Coming in
they wrote
2025.
in 2025.
This is the 25 budget.
So he got the stipends made permanently part of his salary,
It moved up.
and so those zeroed out, and then he got a 4% raise from the
For
previous
2025.
year. For
Like
that
it's
would-
the same.
Right.
It's the same raise as every other employee in the town, which is 2% and a step.
Okay. So, but if you add the 6,000 and the 21,000 to the 92,000, you get 119,000. So, but in 25 or it's labeled 24 it says 124,000. So where's that extra
It's all,
5,000?
the
then you have to
4%
add
raise.
4%.
Okay. I'm just
Because-
yeah, that
checking
comes up.
because there's no increase percent, and I know that's done by Excel, but I just want to make sure.
No. So, all right, and then
Now, the next line is the operational staff, which is the guys on the field.
yep,
So I was told that because there's the treatment plant going online, there's extra duties. And so the union negotiations are going to come in at 10%.
okay,
So that's what I was told to budget. So it actually came out to 9% because I had extra money hidden away.
not
and-
hidden away, but in a
Well,
different manner.
I over budgeted the year before because I always like having a little extra here and there. How's that?
So long as you don't say hidden away ever again, I'll be fine.
So the office staff is 6.36% because Jessica is a 30-hour-a-week employee, and I budgeted for 40 hours. So that's not 10% also because she's 30%.
Okay,
And then overtime, because the treatment plants are a minimum of 4 hours of overtime on the
on
weekend.
the weekends. Dave, are you
So-
going to roll that? Are you going to rotate that?
How do you know it's going to be 4 hours
That's
without
what-
having the
It's
plan and
it's
not actually
mandated by
doing
DEP.
it once? Oh,
It's a
wow.
staffing. It's a staffing requirement and regulation.
Right.
See, it seems
So
like it would make sense to me because it might even like some bigger plants might take more than 4 hours. So why wouldn't you just do it right and say, okay, well, what did you get? Oh, that was 4 hours of overtime. Make sure everything's efficient, and then say, okay, this is what it is. But no, that's great. We have the lovely Commonwealth to step in and tell us what to do. I love it.
Actually, it's
The
scheduled.
staffing plan says it's a minimum of 4 hours, and
So-
there's nothing we can do with that one.
If
and so-
if it goes into the hours of continuous operation. So if the plant is operating for a minimum of 8, you need to be on staff on holidays and weekends for 4 hours. If it's less than 16 hours, that 4 hours jumps to 8. If you go over 16, you have to man it the same number of hours every day. So like if you're a 24/7 plant, you have to, even on the weekends, operate it to the same extent. And those are pretty standard regulations nationally.
Right. But we're expecting the 4 hours. It's we're not a big system. So
The 4 hours makes sense.
so that's why it's 25%, because I have no choice in the matter. My overtime budget has to go up to accommodate that.
Okay.
Longevity is the other thing that went up. So for this year's budget, Kevin and Ryan have been for 5 years. Congratulations. For 5 years of service. We have another employee who's going to have 5 years in July. And again, I want to thank them for sticking with us at that time. And so it's that one employee that is going to get additional 600. That's why the budget's going up $600. We have one more employee going over 5 years.
Okay.
Hard to believe it was only 5 years ago we created those positions.
Well, not just that, Nate. It was rebuilding the entire staff.
Actually, yeah, one of
does
those
Jim-
positions was already there.
Yeah, well, two of them were because Mike had gone to Groton and
Right,
Jim
right.
had retired.
Yes.
So we,
Right. We
so
only created the one.
correct. And then with the
Right.
plant, we had to do the other three.
It seemed like it was all at the same time because it was pretty much was.
It's kind of all melded. I'll be honest with you,
You
Nate.
got lucky.
All
I
three
don't-
employees were within 9 months of each other.
Yeah. We got lucky, we could have not had people. So
And Brenda says she's been here for 22 years, which is actually, she's dating herself. It's 23 years. So,
uh-oh.
Never question a woman about age. Ever, ever, ever. Let me see.
thank you, Brenda, for being with us.
No,
And Jessica's going to be here for our first anniversary
when?
this next week.
Oh, congratulations, Jessica.
Congratulations,
And
everyone.
Yes, I would say so. And thank you for all the hard work.
And so that's longevity. We have one employee, and then going down, the next increase is my clothing allowance went from 6 to 1,000, and to reflect the same as other workers.
The
And that's it.
licensures, I have a question about the licensures. It's staying the same. Is that because we've already factored in the licenses and certification for all the workers now, and that's why it's staying the same?
That is
Or-
only for the $500 for each worker. I don't know what they're going to come up with in the union negotiations.
Oh, that's a stipend. It's not for the, never mind. I missed the stipend part, Dave.
Right.
Now I understand. I got it.
Right. So that's for all the people who have licenses.
I saw licenses and certification, and I'm like, well, the number of them have gone up, but
Right.
it's a
That's
stipend.
that one. That's the one in the union contract that's in December.
Okay, never mind. That explains it.
I didn't need anything else in there.
Yep.
And then the next one is the clothing allowance. So even with a 10% raise for the workers, I got it down to 8.16%. And then you add the first page and the second page together, and it comes out to about 5.2%.
Okay.
And as you can see, and I use that for the municipal agreement amount to get an estimate, Eric, because we don't have the current rates on medical yet. But I added the 5.2 from last year's municipal agreement, and I came up with this. So until I get the number in the top 1.1652108 is what is the solid number. And the municipal agreement is going to be a separate line item at the town meeting.
Dang, that's like a quarter of our budget.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's
Wow.
health insurance, dental insurance, insurance for the vehicles, liability insurance, retirement, and there's a whole bunch of other things
Yeah, we have to pay for a portion of what different branches of the town government we use, I believe.
Yes.
If I may ask, the liaison, Chaz, that number look like, a steady number? Do you have any idea what the insurance is going to come in at an increase? Are you expecting a huge increase, or are we?
We are looking at some sort of an increase, but I believe that the insurances are going to come a little lower. My thoughts anyway, because we don't have the amount of litigation that we had. We've been settling cases over the last 3 years, so hopefully our insurance costs are going to come down.
Okay.
But the intermunicipal will round itself out before town meeting,
Yeah.
and that'll be a separate line item at the town meeting than the budget line item. If that makes sense.
Chaz, before we get to town meeting, one thing we've asked for is the breakdown to be given to us of those amounts. Can we get that before we get to town meeting, so we have a good idea of where all that different money went or is going?
I can try to get it. The unfortunate thing is that we don't really know what some of those are until, a week or so before that, but I can ask.
Well, I have last
but
year's.
Yeah, just if we can get it before so we can see it. That was one thing that or at least I fought really, really hard for, to try and make sure that we knew where the individual line items on that was going, so we could feel comfortable that we were working in good faith with your board. And that was something that probably what got me involved. And one of the things that got me involved before was that number always seemed to change from what was the board at the time would project. So yeah, if we could get that before, when it becomes available, if you could let the town administrator know, we'd be looking for that, just so
Yep.
we can.
Well, they used to, the old policy, or I shouldn't say policy because it wasn't a policy, it was more like a procedure, but that was just a flat rate. That's all that they
Yeah, I know.
charged.
No, I know, and we
That's
worked
not
hard to
gonna
get the DOR process put in there, and
Yep.
so that's all I'm looking for.
work. Okay.
Would you like me to send you the copy of the last year's broken down?
Who, me?
No.
No, you got it to me last year, Dave. So,
Okay, yeah,
no, I was
yeah.
okay with it last year.
He broke it down to each employee for medical and everything else. So it was really good.
Yeah. So if you could just ask,
I'll get it to you
Eric.
as soon as I see
you
it.
could ask Eric to do the same, send the same thing breakdown. I would appreciate it.
Yeah, we have new budgeting software that we're using, so that's going to be easier for us to
All
break
right.
down for you once we go through our agreements and collective bargaining and all of that kind of stuff.
All right. We need to make a motion, I believe, to accept this budget presentation or budget number.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the budget presentation.
Do you want to put the amount in there, or do we want to leave the amount off? We could do the
20 where it says 25 total, 2020
Yeah.
25 total budget. The 1,652,108 is a solid number. It is not going to change.
It's the only problem I have, Nate, is we don't know. We probably should attach a final number to it, and I don't know if we know exactly what the intermunicipal agreement number will be. So
And we won't know that till a week before. But it's a separate
What's the
line item.
deadline?
I think it's next week, the 15th,
What's that?
the budget deadline.
Is next week. On
All
the
right,
16th.
so I could
But-
probably
But the budget is going to stay the same. The municipal agreement will could change lower or higher. But when you go to town meeting, the budget and the municipal agreement are two separate warrants.
Okay.
So all you have to do is approve the budget, and the municipal agreement is going to be what it is.
So it's the 1,652,108, Nate.
Correct. And would you guys like your $3 this year?
No.
I'd like
And
my
all the
$3. I'd like my $3 from every single year I served. every term I've served. Never got it. And then I want it to show a decrease in the budget by 0.000.
Would you like penny? Would you like it in pennies? So you can think you have more?
Nate,
I'm
could I have
sorry.
a motion?
That's being a
I have a nation.
I move that we accept the budget presentation in the amount of $1,652,108.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
So this brings us to rates, because that's the next thing so,
To support the budget, you have to do the rates.
right. So because we have a number at 5.2%, and so the rates will basically reflect those numbers.
Basically,
It ends up at 6%, because we
So-
also have to start putting money away.
6% on each line.
Yep.
That's
Yes.
all right. So that's what I'm seeing.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them are rounded. Some of them would be 5%. Some of them would be 6.5%. We've kept them at more even numbers instead of having, like a turn on fee at $55.10. We rounded it to 55. But the rates, the residential rates, the commercial rates are exactly 6%. Then everything else is rounded to the nearest $5 or $10, just to keep something in a sensible. But it's within a few tenths of a percent of 6%.
Okay.
It's better than the 15 that was projected too.
Correct.
Yeah, I know.
And this we're still on. That's 4%. Yeah. We lowered it. Next year it's going to be the same thing. We're going to try to get it a little lower than 6%, and hopefully DuPont sent me a letter, which I think I sent it to you, that they said they're going to pay us this spring. If it happens, who knows? But that could reduce the rates next year to even lower than 5%. But cross our fingers and we'll see what happens, right?
Yep. And that's just the first one. It's not all of the other ones either. Is it, Dave?
There's 18 separate law companies that are being sued. 2 have settled. DuPont and 3M are going to give 2 separate payments. One for damages, which is the first one. And the second payment that they're going to give is for maintaining your treatment.
All right.
So the first one, I think it's between 4 and 5 million. We're going to get combined between DuPont and 3M.
Yep.
And those numbers, they're going to give us those exact numbers soon.
All right. I will have something that on a commissioner's report for next month that something just popped in my head. I just need to work it out, but I will formally present that thought at the next meeting. In regards,
And if you've seen the towns around us, Lunenburg's rates are going to about double, because they're going to they got approval with their money for their treatment plant. Pepperell is going to go through the roof because
Acton went up 50%.
Yep, Pepperell got denied funding for PFAS.
I still don't understand that. It's a PFAS plant. They had to have screwed up their application somehow.
Yeah, I can tell you the exact reason why. So Pepperell decided they were going to they run Dunstable water too. They
Yeah.
want to connect Pepperell to Dunstable to get their water. They were going to go by the high school, Groton Dunstable High School.
Yeah.
Groton found out about it, and they put in for the same exact water system.
Yeah, but
So-
but Groton's
so
not going to
Pebble
do.
Pepperell got denied because Groton it wants to feed the high school.
No, I understand that part of it, but they also applied for a PFAS treatment plant, correct?
That's one
Or
of
were
those
they
things.
just going to use it? If they were only going to use replace their supplier with Dunstables, then
That's what they were going to do, and they got denied because it's no longer. It's not
But
considered a
Dunstable,
PFAS project.
that part doesn't make any sense because Dunstable doesn't have the withdrawal volume attached to it that would make up for what. Um, all right, whatever.
But
Not my
that's what those-
listen. Not my bag of monkeys. Not my problem.
Right. So I'll go over the SRF, but
That's fine. That's fine.
later
We're going
on,
far
this is part of the
afield.
report. So we kept it down as much as we could, because I don't like answering, huge
No, I
amount
know.
of rates increases because I don't like the phone calls.
The only problem I have with this is that, unit rates, fine. I don't know that I want to see all these fees and basically
if you don't
fees
do the-
going up like this in a percentage. Now, okay, why? I was going to say why. And then I
Right.
think we
Here's
Well, then
the
they're in-
reason why, because say you go to turn on and turn off fee. We lose money turning somebody on or off already, because if I send a 2-man crew to go shut someone's house off and it takes an hour, right? So I pay, so we pay our workers $25. We don't pay our workers $25. We actually pay them $50 because you add all the benefits in it. So when you send a 2-man crew to do a job, it costs us about $110.
right.
No,
So
I
yes,
get-
as a business, yes, you
Yep.
would not want to do that. But this is a municipality. This is
We are a
this
business.
is Townsend. This is Townsend's water system,
Right.
and these are our beloved town employees. Okay, so there is this is you got to look at it like a business. Yes, I understand that, but at the same time, without those people turning off and on the water, there's really no sense in having a water department now, is there? I'm
So
just
the other
saying,
part-
if we keep increasing these every single year, these fees, I'm not seeing it, and I don't
Well, the
think
other
it's gonna.
part-
I don't think it's gonna break you.
Well, the other part is, well, some of it it might. Well, the turn on turn off fee. I would say you're trying to at least break even on those. You're trying not to lose money. But any
We're still
sort
going
of
to lose
a-
money.
But the other part of it is too, Nate, is anything we lose down here, we have to add to the usage fees. And
No, well, all right. So okay, then if that is so
that would be my thought process. So
And you are correct.
I see what you're saying. On paper, it looks excellent. Right? So how many turn on, you must have said, okay, we have so many turn on, turn off fees. And it was at before, I think it was like, well, actually, I don't even remember it being close to 50. But now it's 52.50 and we're going up to 55.
It was
So-
always 50.
It was always 50.
Right. So
I to be honest with you, I don't know. But-
I remember a lot of these being a lot lower, and it looks like they've gone up a percentage because I can see like 78.75, 52.50.
For the turnoffs, I've seen. I don't know. Well, let's hold on one second. Let me see if I can get it. But I would say, Nate, we're far below what.
I would not decrease the labor fee, right? I would keep that increase. A turn-on fee for 55 instead of 52.50, that makes sense. Okay, it's a round amount. but I don't think that those should increase every single year. If you want to do a rate increase, well, that's it. That's a rate increase. Now you're talking rates and fees. That's different.
So the only thing I would say is on some of these, wow, it's only, okay.
Like, are you charging labor fees if someone pulls and says that they have a system development, and you charge them a system development charge? And if we have people on the scene, they're getting paid. They got an increased rate for their labor fee. So why increase the
There's no
system
labor fee
development
in the
fee?
system development charge.
Okay,
No,
right.
that's
Bad
all
example.
parts. That's all
That's for new
parts.
houses.
Okay.
So that's all for parts and stuff like that. So you do the tap saddle, the line equipment, the meter, the ball valve, all the assembled infrastructure that you need to connect a building to the system is what that fee is for. What the labor fee is if we do any of the work that goes in there, installing the meter or anything like
We
that
don't-
is far.
Installing meters are free.
So
Okay,
what was
then what is what's the labor fee go to then, Dave?
So right now is if you decide you want your service in your house moved because you're adding a porch, or we go in and we do whatever labor is done. But mainly that was for installing the service in someone's property. They used to do. We haven't charged labor fees in 2 years
why not?
because we haven't had to.
Okay.
But
So what percent increase? For instance, I'm noticing some of these service 3-inch and over. It was $26,000, $250, and it's
that would be for an apartment building.
$27,825. So what percent increase is that? Did you know
About
offhand?
6%.
That's 6%.
Yep.
It doesn't look. I suppose.
10. What's a percent of
Yeah.
of
Okay.
$10,000?
$6,000. $600.
Right. $600 for 10,000. 20,000 is $1,200.
No, I'm looking at this and it's just
It comes out to 6%.
System development charges. That's for parts. You're saying that's to
Well,
reflect an
that's
increase
for
of
the-
cost of parts.
That's for new houses, and that's for adding to the water system and the energy cost, and it's a system development fee that you're buying into the system.
To buy water. To then
it's
pay for water.
a new tank.
It's going to be generating more revenue, more services,
Right.
more revenue, and there's
Right.
a point at which that tapers off. But if you're charging up front for it, you're only just making money. See what I'm saying?
Well, they usually do that when they get their building permit, Nate. They usually do
Well,
all.
we're not talking about the building department. We're talking about the
No, I know,
schedule
but
fees for the water.
when they do the system development, well, no, the system development charge.
That's for
1-inch
paying.
service.
That's for paying for. Say you do a subdivision of 100 houses. You're putting a strain on the system. That's for paying for a new tank, adding future water lines to
Paying for like increased maintenance on the wells, on the impact on that, and
right.
that's what those sort of things go towards.
Right.
Dave, we don't charge sprinkler charge fee according to main size at the rate of 26 inches per
26,
inch.
25 per inch, going up to 28.
28.
Yeah. Now,
So
a lot of people don't tell us that they do a sprinkler test and they dump water. And so we almost, that line we lose money on because
yeah, it's the sprinkler. I've seen sprinkler
It's not
free
metered?
charges. No, a sprinkler system isn't metered because you can't have any restriction on the flow on a fire system, Nate.
Right.
But what they usually do, instead of doing it this way, and we're not going to do it here and now, but what I've seen for sprinkler charges, it's based on it's given
Size of
a
the building
total
or
size of the building, square foot of the building, or the size of the main going in. But usually it's the square foot of the building will get a set amount, and they're actually fairly significant. If you think the system development charges are high, you should see what they call fire sprinkler charges in some of the other communities there. It's to make up, because water, I've said, I don't think I've ever said it here, but water was never meant to be set up to deliver drinking water. It was, the system size is set up to be able to supply the fire flow that you would need and require. Drinking water came, to believe it or not, came second, and the systems are all set up so that you can deliver all in one and have only one set of infrastructure to maintain. So that usually gets compensated by these sprinkler charges. I'm actually okay with that. Something going forward, and maybe talk to Ty and Bond when they look forward to it, is about changing that to maybe quantifying it little bit differently and see what the numbers would look like for different buildings if we wanted to pursue that. But that's going far afield away from this. I would rather try, in my thought process, Nate, is to balance it out. We gave the commercial and industrial a pretty significant cut by capping them at tier 2. I don't think it's unfair to ask some of this other stuff to,
it's all commercial industrial that affects.
yeah, that most of this is going to apply to. I don't think it's wrong to try and make up that difference here instead of attaching it to the actual rates. That's my thought process anyways. I think
No, you're right. I overlooked that.
it balances out the break we gave them on the tiers so that we didn't necessarily drive them away, but it starts to recoup a little bit and it evens it out throughout the whole thing.
So some of these, I might be wrong, they are under the commercial industrial, but some of these are used in the residential.
The sprinkler, all the sprinkler is, there's only a couple that is in residential, some apartment buildings. The new duplex in 94 Fitchburg is going to have a separate 2-inch sprinkler line, but so that's a 2-inch line per quarter times 28. That it's $56 a quarter to maintain a sprinkler.
So I'm
It's
not seeing anything I could say cut. I just don't want to see these keep going. All these charges and rates going up absolutely every year.
That's what the rate study said for the next, it was 8 years, I think.
That's a study. All right. That's
Right.
not
It's
not
based
you
on,
must do this. I think, well, maybe we should have a little more input when they do their study, commissioner input when they do that, so we can we're not stuck here at a meeting saying, hey, wait, I don't like this. Well, okay. So I would say the schedule and rates and fees, they are listed. Anything that could be residential or commercial industrial, I would say probably delineate this a little differently, because I could see a customer saying, oh, that labor fee isn't under the residential and I'm residential. Do you see what I'm saying? It might be.
well, that's why it's left blank. I will say
nice
most
to
of
keep
it
this on one sheet.
But what I would say is it doesn't differentiate. It's what it's applied to, and most likely. But if a residential that has they say they turn it on and turn it off, if they go to Florida, they would get that $55 charge when they turned it off or turned it on. Or if we, for some reason, had to turn it off because something happened that would require by regulation it be shut off. Those are costs that add in that make so it where most of them get applied to commercial in the most part, like the fire sprinkler fee. I mean, if you want to do that, we could just
I got an
under the
idea.
commercial part change the spot, but for the
Yep.
most part,
So
go ahead.
under so you have commercial, industrial, and bold, and then you have tier 1, tier 2. So under that, there's a blank line. I would just say other fees, other rates and fees, and that way
Oh.
nobody could come and look at this
Yeah.
piece of paper and say, "Hey, no, this says this. This says right here. That's right there that it's
No,
not.
I
that
actually-
I'm not. You know what I'm saying?
I actually like
got
it.
you. I'll rearrange this to.
I think
reflect
you
what
just
you
need to
just
add
asked.
one line. Just add one line.
I
Say
do too.
other
Did-
fees.
Nate,
Rates.
outstanding idea.
I'll
Really
rearrange this whole
influence.
thing to reflect. I got your thoughts.
I
And
I
all
don't
you
think
have
you
to
need
do
to
is add one
rearrange
more
it.
line.
Add one line. Yeah, simple. Keep it simple.
So you don't push it off. The line that's blank between meter tampering and whatever, just delete that line and add it above
Yep.
the sprinkler charge, and then write other fees and what'd you say? Other fees and charges.
Other
And
fees
that's
and
all you
charges.
got to do.
Or you have between meter valve replacement and unauthorized connections, you have two extra spaces there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that one.
Yep.
Good
So-
call, Nate.
That's an easy fix.
That's
Oh,
an
just-
easy
just-
fix.
Well,
so you know
actually,
for-
if you know Excel, it's an easy fix.
Just so you know, for meter valve changes, part of the changing the water meters, if we go in and we find that a valve doesn't work, we don't charge the customer to change the valve because we're changing the meter. We
Mhm.
asked to change the meter, so we eat the cost because it's the right thing to do.
I like that. I like
Okay.
that. Even though it's after the
Yeah.
the meter,
But-
the
but it
curb
work-
stop. It's
You
okay.
can't ask a customer to come into your house and then charge them.
Right.
It's
No,
not
I agree
right.
with that.
No, I totally agree. It's good that it's set up that way. That's good.
If
Yeah.
you want us to fix the valve in your house for some reason, then we charge you. But
Is that written somewhere? Because I want it to be repeatable no matter what.
If we go into your house, we don't charge
Dave,
you.
No, we
to-
understand that,
this is
Dave.
part of the
Do you
meter
have it
change.
in a written policy?
No.
Please do
Put
so.
it in. Submit it for the next meeting so we can
And we'll
add
approve
that.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know how you would word
I don't-
that.
I
This has
don't
got to be
believe
a
in-
good way.
And
No,
asking someone to
they're really
invade
good
their
templates
house.
to do it,
Yep.
Nate.
Transparency through. Yeah, I know.
Right.
I like that.
But we
too.
shouldn't
Good.
invade someone's house and say that the meter change is free and then charge.
You know, the other thing about it, Nick, too, is if we put it in a written policy, not only is it transparent, but it stays. So like,
Yeah, it's repeatable. Yep.
if 15 years down the road, there's a different board that wanted to change that, if it's a written policy in
Yeah,
the way
I
we do
got you.
it
So
can't-
they could remove a
they
policy.
could remove it, but it's a lot more
But
difficult to remove
But
a
any
written
one
policy.
person could not do that.
I think we
Correct.
lost Chaz.
Did we? Hopefully he comes back.
All right, so
Can I have a motion, Nate? Or do you want me to make it?
I move that we accept the schedule of rates and fees presentation.
I second. The motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
And let's see. I go back to my rates. Let's see.
commissioners updates. Oh no,
Okay.
update missing documents. I don't know what that is.
So we had, this could have gone under
That should have been under
3, or
commissioner's
this could have
report.
gone 5. No, this is really a liaison thing. So I had stopped in and talked to Eric. I had filled him in. I followed up with an email, and he said he'd look into certain documents, anything that basically had been removed from the office when the prior superintendent vacated. from what I hear, there was a lot of paperwork taken. So I didn't know if anything digitally or paper, that stuff that we had created in previous boards might still be there. And I don't know what the status is of that. I did pop my head in and talked. I spoke to Eric and I said, hey, this is on our agenda. Can you, get with our liaison and make sure that he can bring whatever, if anything, to the meeting. So perhaps we table this until Chaz is
Then we'll
back.
put it, we'll put it on the next one, or if he comes back.
Right.
All
So-
right, just hold on. Let me. So let's see. After that, it comes 4.1 commissioners updates and reports. I don't have anything, Nate.
I have nothing at this time. Although I do want to say that with the meeting being put off, I don't feel good about voting every month to, we vote every month to approve the end of month reports and bills payable warrants. So really what we've done is we've done that in a monthly meeting. Sometimes we've had 2 monthly meetings. And we approved to do that at session. And normally it would be at a table right there at the meeting. And that would be it. There would be no several stops to, each week to do warrants. So I just don't want, as much as I want our bills paid like as soon as possible, and I love that idea. I love being expeditious with that. I don't want the position to be abused in any way or even be seen as abused, where we are just taking it upon ourselves out of meeting to take new bills that, hadn't even been received yet or anticipated in a meeting or near a meeting, and then roll that over in more than like a 30-day period and keep signing these. So yes, we were unable to have a meeting. And some of these bills are going over 40 days that, since our last meeting. And I don't really feel good about that. I don't feel good about signing my name or having my name stamped without a board approved saying, yes, these bills shall be paid. But
Well,
kind of the
I
way
think-
we do it is out of session, but we are moving with that motion in section 7. We're moving to approve them and vote sign out of session. So these
So
have been approved. So really, if somebody wanted to push the issue, they could say, the bills that you have received as of the date, let's say today's date, 1/3/24, we said at this meeting at 1/3 that those bills that we've received are good to be signed and paid.
Can I make one thing? I think there's a simple way to solve this, because the way we're doing it now by week, and we voted to do that and to use the stamps. I don't think we need to vote to approve by month, because I don't think waiting a month to approve to sign the warrants and stuff is acceptable, because some of it will end up with late charges by the time we get to the end of to whatever meeting we get to. But by voting to approve to do that, and I wish Chaz was still on here, if we remove that line, because we already voted to approve.
I'm not
The
saying to
warrants.
remove the line, just for clarity.
No, I understand that, but this was when you were talking, this was my thought, is where we are reviewing and signing them on a weekly basis. And we agreed to do it by using the stamp.
So the stamp
Um,
was, so if we could not make it into the office, we would
Correct.
be able to do it. We could review them in email, but that's not that was, to my recollection, frequency of this was not discussed. Because this is end of month reports and bill payable warrants, end of month. Well, that's what we vote on. I don't want to create anything where someone could come out of the woodwork and say, these commissioners are blah, 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 blah. I don't want that. I want transparency.
No, I
and I
understand
want-
that. I'm just
I
fixing
want
it in my head.
oversight of this.
And I think we are, to be honest with you, I think doing it by week, we're giving it more oversight than if you were doing it month by month.
Right, but not as a board. We're doing that as individuals. We're not getting together behind the scenes saying, "Hey, did you see this for Quill? This Quill bill. Hey, that's a lot of paper." We don't discuss that. So we don't discuss those particulars. I believe, and there was a
I
time
would
when
say
we were
that's
meeting in
more-
person that this happened. We used to do that. I don't want to see bills being signed by any one board member over a 30-day period. So if that means that we have to, we have a meeting and we sign for 3-4 weeks, okay, but I don't want to see it go beyond that. I think it could be seen as
Well, I don't think it does now. If we're doing it week by week, you're not going to go over
so
that 1 week.
we have. I'm trying to think back. I mean, there's been times where we've had.
I think you're going the other way. If we do it by month, you will
No,
end
I'm
up
not
going-
saying. I'm not saying we sign once a month. I'm saying that the bills that we accrue
Mhm.
in a month period. So
Mhm.
like a 30-day period, though it might not be the 1st through the 30th. Yes, we have our meeting on the 3rd, and then we end up going 1 week into the next month. I'm fine with that. Because we are saying we approve the end of month bills, payable warrants. So
We-
that's
we
yes,
could
end
amend
of
it.
month, but it is saying it's alluding to the fact that these are the bills that you are going to accrue over a month period. So I just don't want to see that. I was very hesitant about signing these past warrants because we did not have our meeting. So I
Mhm.
said, you can use my stamp with the, approved by the board. I worded it carefully. I was very,
No, I understand
I
that,
don't
but I
like it.
think I would prefer to keep it week to week because it gives us a better
Uh,
oversight of.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't, I'm not saying anything to the contrary. I'm saying
Can
we
I
should not
clarify
exceed a
what he's saying?
4-week period.
Can I clarify
Okay.
what Nate doesn't want to go 2 months at
No, and
meeting to
I
meeting.
understand that. And
we just have to when we miss a meeting, we have to be more judicial on making up the meeting as soon as possible. Would that solve it, Nate?
Yeah,
It
I
would
mean,
also solve it if we had another board member.
Well, that too.
Then they could have had a meeting.
it's not about my availability. It's not about my willingness. It's about the process.
Our availability does get limited because there's only 2 of us. So if something happens, so like God forbid something happens to me and say I get put in the hospital for 4 weeks and we have to go a 2-week period without a meeting, you can't, because we only have 2, that limits us to our availability on that. So like if in that instance, if we actually had 3 commissioners, you could still have a meeting and have a quorum and do what you are suggesting. But because there is only 2 of us, we
Yeah.
get we get limited in that, to be honest with you.
What would we do if we didn't have, like, say, heaven forbid, if you were in the hospital for a extended, or myself,
Period. I don't know.
extended
To be
period of
honest
time,
with you,
and
I
we're
don't
not
know,
having
Nate.
meetings? Because
Nate,
I would not sit here and say I'm going to take and vote. I'm not going to.
No,
I'm
I'm
not going to be
with you, Nate,
signing
and
stuff.
that's the danger we run with having a limited number of commissioners.
Someone is
To be
going
honest with you, I don't know what the procedure would be.
It'd have something to do with the selectmen.
They would.
Well, I would like to
potentially-
look into that, make sure, because we are at
I
that
think
point. We should not let it get to that. If something were to happen to myself or you, Todd, we don't want to be in. Either of us want to be in that
No,
position.
I-
where
I know someone's going to run for the 3-year position for April.
Okay. So we'll
That's
get
all
there.
I can. That's all I can. I know.
No, and
someone's
they haven't taken out papers yet, so you're supposing that there's a
somebody
good
has told
chance.
me that they're
That's fine.
they're switching boards and going.
I will-
to
I don't know if we should be electioneering.
No, we should not. Let's stay in the lines. So where are we
Fine.
now?
You're,
Let me see.
You're at liaison.
And he has not come back on. I wonder if something happened to his internet.
Well,
Hmm.
It's okay. We can move on. If he comes back,
You-
then
If you,
we
yeah,
can go back to
we
it.
did the same with the resident who didn't show up. So,
Yeah.
6.1.
Right.
Well, take it away, Mr.
All
Superintendent.
right. So we'll go right down the list. Buildings, walls are going up in the office next week. Power is also temporary power is going to the building next week, and heat. So that it should be fully enclosed sometime next week. The office. Garage is waterproofed right now. Let's see. Filters are delivered next month. We're
Hey,
at that.
Dave, on the filters when they come in, can you let us know when they're coming? I'd like to see what what our filters actually look like before they get set up or as they're getting delivered. I'm kind of curious to see
the
which.
last week of February, and
All right.
as soon as we get a drop dead date, you might want to take a few hours off and watch one get placed in the building because it's going to be a
Yeah.
site.
I would like to, if I can. I'll bring my hard hat.
If not,
I would like
I
to
have
see
a
it.
couple extra in my truck.
I would maybe invite TCAM so they can film it and so that people can actually see what's going on. Dave, you've done a good job of updating us and putting it on Facebook. One thing I might ask that you do is be selective, but maybe include some of those pictures of the building as it's going up on a report so it makes it onto TCAM as well. And people can
That's-
actually
but
see.
But I have to keep it down to a certain pixel.
Okay.
That's why there's
Oh.
only one or two pictures that
Okay.
that
All right.
I only can put one or two pictures. So usually last time I picked two, and so I have to keep it with the update. Now, when the building gets, I can make a weekly update later on, and
Okay.
when we because right now it's kind of boring. It's concrete blocks.
No,
It's
I get that. I just,
So
I
when we
really
start
wanna
actually
see-
putting things in the building and things change in the building, we can move to a weekly. And we're at
I just
10
want
months
people to, I
to
just want
completion.
people to, give me 1 second, Dave. I just want people to start to use the word transparent, but I don't think that's the right word. I want to be communicate. That's not the right word either. I'm
no,
sorry.
I know exactly.
I just want us to be proactive in the way we communicate with public so that they can actually see physical evidence of what we've committed monetarily to what is actually being presented. And I get it, the building, the blocks and all that stuff is boring and that the meat or substance is coming later. But maybe even talk to Dave over at TCAM that if you could include some photos in this so that when they do the video replay, they have something like that. So we on our monthly meetings, it might actually be seen a little bit more. I want us to try and communicate with them as much as possible in as many different ways. I think it helps us in the long run. And I don't know, maybe I'm beating a dead horse, but
That's why I give them every month. I put something
No,
up
you-
with a picture, and
you do a good job. And please keep using the Townsend Facebook. I see that getting, you can do the metrics on a post on Facebook, and it tells you the positive and negative. And I've looked at it a couple of times, and those posts about the building, for the most part, I mean, are extremely on the positive side. So I just don't want to see us slack off on that part. Okay.
I won't, because I get
Mhm.
it keeps the calls down.
All right.
Now,
Anything else on the plant?
that's the plant. Water lines, they're at the fourth hydrant on phase 2. They're still working because there's no snow on the ground, and they can. Meters, we're up to 807, which is 39% of the town is completely changed over. As of tomorrow, every commercial and industrial property will be completed.
Good job. That's where
How
probably.
many- How many are going in tomorrow?
It's on Bailey's.
Just one?
Yeah,
Just the one?
but it's like seven, 8 businesses in there.
Okay.
Oh, it's the Bailey's
So
building, not just.
8 meters.
It's one big 2-inch meter, but it's 7, 8. It's Bailey's, the dentist, the dry cleaner, and there's a doctor's office.
How do they all share a meter?
It usually goes to the management company, and then they divide per size of
In their
whatever.
rental agreement.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's going to be completed tomorrow. Main Street Generator, May 7th, is going to come in, and they'll be finished within a month after that. Lunenburg Tank, the survey's being done sometime in the next few months. I mentioned the SRF. Pepperell Air at Fitchburg got refused funding for whatever reason. Lunenburg and Gordon got funding. So
They're
that's-
probably because they've already gotten, I mean, they got one from DOD, but they got another one from SRF. And there's so many people applying for PFAS loans now, and some of the bigger communities, the numbers are going up. I would say that's probably why Air got, I mean, we're going far afield. That doesn't matter to us.
Right, it just
Never mind.
money's tight with the SRF, so they're getting really picky.
I would say we were lucky to get in when we are not lucky, but through hard work or getting in early, because I think people that are going to come in late aren't going to necessarily get the same benefits that we did with the percent with principal forgiveness, nor the 0% interest. So
That's
Getting
already been
that on-
told. That's already
Yeah,
been told to us.
getting that on paper early, I think, shows good foresight and a lot of hard work. So congratulations to everyone that had a part in that.
And that we are now complete.
Okay. We got office updates and reports. Schedule the next meeting. Nate, how is February? February looking for you?
I'm available the 5th.
Hold on.
That is the second, well, the first full week, but the second week.
Hold on one second. My one phone just died on me. Calendar. There we go.
You know, hold on a second. We have, when is the winter town meeting?
It'll be spring. I don't think they're gonna
Oh,
have
you're right.
May.
There's not one
The
in
first Saturday
February?
in May.
Those are only
Special.
specials. Those are only
Special,
specials. And we already had 2 specials, Nate. We had one early in the
Right,
fall,
right.
and then we had one last month. So I don't think they're gonna have another special.
They are not. They vote.
All right, wow.
Elections in April. Town meeting is in May.
All right. Yeah, I'm good. Hold on. God damn it. It closed on me.
President's Day is
You're not an old person using technology. Leave me alone. Oh, good God. You think this is the first time I use this stuff. It's not. Why am I having such a hard time tonight?
I mean, would you guys want to do like 4 weeks? 1, 2, 3, every 4 weeks? That way we can, it's like more of a month before we. I know we do it every second Monday, or usually every second Monday, but like if we did it the second Monday,
Yeah.
that would bring us, that's almost 8 weeks.
Hold on one sec.
1, 2,
I don't have a
3,
phone.
It'd be,
Hold on one
six,
sec.
it'd be 6 weeks.
6 weeks. That's a long time.
Yeah.
February 19th is a holiday. Just FYI.
All right,
February?
so hold on.
President's Day is the 19th.
So hold on.
I'm
So-
available.
The
I'm
5th is good.
available pretty much any old day.
5th to the 12th is something.
So, so February 29th, you're thinking, Nate?
Nope.
No, no, no.
Well, we could, if you wanted to have a second meeting, like if we have stuff to do, like
So if we do the,
I got stuff I want to do. I got a lot of things.
what about
And,
the
I'm
5th?
kind of waiting on these documents that we're gonna get. So I want to have some meetings. I want to get some good stuff done. I want to really button down the department's governing documents. I want to
So
button this
the
down. I
5th
want to seal it up. We haven't looked at them in a long time. It needs to
Mhm.
be ever evolving, ever changing, especially with this new facility. We need to take a look at these. We need to make sure everything still fits.
Um,
But I really wanted the liaison to give me
No.
anything, give me something, if anything, rather, if they've found
Well-
something. So, and I wanted that presented to the board, not just me.
no. All right, let's do the 29th, Nate. That's 4 weeks. Well, not 4 weeks because we're not
29th of
doing one
January?
month. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of going too long without having these meetings.
No, and I
'cause-
get that. I think, where especially we're ending with these 5-week months, it gets a little bit extended. So if we did that, then what are you looking at for February? Because our normal one would be the 12th after that.
Right.
And that's 2 weeks. I'm okay with that. If we did the 29th, that would keep us within a 4 week, maybe get us back on track and make up for one we missed. And then if I don't
Do
know if
like-
you've got anything going on the 12th, but that gets us back on
Yeah,
track.
we could do
and
that.
then we're-
I like it.
and then we're back on track on being just about every 4 weeks after that, Nate.
Okay, I like that. I'm going to put it in for the 12th as a possible, and we'll decide that on the
29th.
29th. All right, cool.
All right, Nate?
All right.
Absolutely. BOWC on the 29th.
And gentlemen, before we end everything, just can I just have your attention for just a moment, please? I just wanted to go over the last two documents with you because you do sign these and the schedule of bills receivable, that's what we took in. And the other 7.2 is also the November adjustment list. So just so that you're aware of it, because whoever's going to be coming in to sign these things, I'm going to stamp their name on them or sign them or whatever. They'll be a part of the packet. So I wanted you just to know about the schedule because sometimes we go over that and I don't think anybody looks at it. So I'm just trying to make sure it's at the forefront.
No, I look. I've
I look
looked
at
at
the
it.
I look at the accounts receivable, but I've never seen the bills receivable. I've never seen the charge book.
I put it in
FY24.
there monthly. Well, the last few months since we started doing it. Yes.
Okay.
It's been in the packet.
Yes, I do. I promise.
You know what? The format might have changed, and that's why.
I think
don't
it,
recognize
yes,
it.
it has. It has changed.
Yeah, it has.
Now I'm
That
going,
in the warrant article format changed as well.
yes. And speaking of warrants, I will be getting those done by tomorrow, hopefully late afternoon. So if I'll send them out to you tomorrow afternoon for authorization for Friday morning or, so we can get them down Friday afternoon or Monday morning tops.
All right, I can look at those tomorrow night and get them back to you.
Yep. I'm just letting you know, and I'll text you and let you know that I sent them to you so you're aware of it. Because I know
I'll be
that
going by about lunchtime.
I will try.
I'll be driving by. On Fridays lunchtime.
On Friday,
okay?
Friday lunchtime is perfect for me. Thank you.
Okay, I should be driving right by there.
All right, that would be great. All right, thank you so
All right.
much. But I will
No
I'll
problem.
send them to you prior. I'll send them to you tomorrow night.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Nate, can I have a motion?
Well, Mr. Chairman, per section 7, I would move that we review. Oh, wait, we just did. Wait, monthly abatements and adjustments lists.
We did do that. We just looked at it.
Abatements. Abatements?
It doesn't
No.
require a vote to approve.
Oh, there it
them.
is.
Yeah.
No, I just want to make sure because it's. I feel like
Yeah,
I
I know.
read this sometimes and it changes. All right. Yeah, I've seen it enough. All right, Mr. Chairman, I move that we review and approve end of month reports and bill payable warrants out of session.
Seconded. Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
Okay. Nothing else needing to be said. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adjourn the Water Commissioners meeting.
At
You say that once we vote.
okay, sorry. My bad. Second. Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn the meeting of January 3rd at 9:21 p.m. Roll call vote. Todd Melanson, aye.
Nathan Madela, aye.
Everybody, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for the time tonight.